Who wants a follow-up video? One drama I've been pretty invested in is Oliviera being exposed by Vince Vintage as a scummy, lying, view-hungry journalist, which he backs up pretty well in a video I covered last week. I highly recommend that video because there's a lot of good research done on there and some new bits of information that were obscured before until he pointed them out and made them well known. He points out the kind of fuck-ups that would honestly ruin a journalist's credibility with shit like setting up bait for a car theft, misusing footage from other places to make, a false narrative of a different city, and coming off as a very biased when it's otherwise saying, oh, I'm just reporting on what's going on. That's it. But now, a week later, Tyler has made a response to Vince and his critiques. And honestly, I came into his response, skeptical of how he could, redeem himself, which I was right to be, because some of these points are so dumb, I should make fun of them. As well as the fact that Tyler did swallow some pretty big pills by apologizing for parts, which he honestly couldn't excuse. So let me get into it by going to some of the bigger points that he mentions in order, because I can't really disregard this entire video as bullshit. There are some parts that are decent, but definitely there's way more shit that's funny with how dumb it is. For one, I think the funniest part to me was when he explained how Vince is clearly an obsessed, autistic little stalker, because his video on Tyler is longer than his video talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I guess that's funny, except a video would naturally be longer when you yourself have to find new bits of information and explain them in the video, as opposed to talking about an already well-known case. Probably one of the most researched and investigated well-known cases, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so what is Tyler's first response? Well, it's his explanation for Vince's claim that he misconstrued a KKK memorabilia store as a nice little antique store. Yeah.
Why did Tyler hide the fact that he shopped at a KKK memorabilia store that sells bleep and passed it off as an antique store? In this video, I walked into the store, bought some automatic assault rocks, this license plate, and a copy of the city ordinance. This is a Civil War antique store that sells all sorts of artifacts and memorabilia from the Civil War time period.
I mean, hell, he bought so much stuff from this place that he needed a bag to take out everything he bought. I mean, it's just a grand old time at the KKK store, right?
I maybe spent 10 minutes in the store, talked to this lady, got an interview for the video, bought some rocks for the bit, and left. It's almost like saying if you pay admission to go to a Civil War museum, you're somehow supporting slavery. It doesn't even make sense, and Vince knows this, but he preys on an audience that already hates me to create this narrative that I am a racist. Why did he hide the fact that he gave the most racist man in America a welcome gift he bought from the KKK memorabilia store that sells said bleep? First of all, I didn't hide anything. I even posted a photo of him and I on Instagram with a caption titled, "I gifted him automatic assault rocks from Kennesaw." For context, I saw the original video where the most racist man in a video meets another YouTuber, Pootie, and Pootie asks him this.
Me or this white rock right here? Be honest, don't lie to me.
The rock, it serves a purpose.
I was out there, I knew I still had the rocks in the car, I knew about the Pootie bit with the rocks, I knew I could make him laugh if I gave him the rocks. I did. Boom! We have a video.
Right, so his point was that it was technically an antique store, a Civil War antique store, and that's fine, whatever. But I'm still on Vince's side that does make it seem like you're making this store appear like, a nice, respectful store, when in reality, there's something a bit more yeesh going on in there. I'm not going to repeat what Vince implies, that Tyler is a racist, because that's probably like one of his weakest points in that video. But I think it does go against, Tyler's proud claim that he's an unbiased journalist, that he just gets the truth out there when he's actually hiding or obscuring details. The next part I honestly think is the most laughable is where he addresses the question, why did he use a PS5 and a controller to bait someone to break into his car? And holy shit, his answer. So it turns out that first of all, it wasn't the PS5. No, it wasn't an expensive item. It was a TV, another expensive item. You fucking idiot, Vince. It was completely different from the game console, despite it having similar visible value. as well as having the controller there as well.
Why did Tyler use a PS5 as bait to get someone to break into his car? 1, that's a TV, not a PS5.
So after that clear up, he explains how he did it because, yeah, he was right. He did want you to bait a car robbery. So what?
That's a TV, not a PS5. 2, to see if someone would break in and take it. Fun fact, because I hate thieves, we emptied the boxes and put towels in them. But to be fair to Vince, his real point is that car break-ins and auto theft is so rare in the city of Oakland that we had to perform a little sting operation to show that cars do get broken into. Yet, he fails to include this scene where we walk up to a woman who is taping cardboard to her car window that just got broken into.
Okay, so Tyler talks about this part to make it seem like Vince was defending Oakland as a much better area than Tyler was making it seem. And that's bullshit. That's not true at all. He simply said that Tyler shouldn't be trusted when he's literally staging fake narratives to paint the worst picture, only to get the views. I'm sorry, but that is so fucking insane. The fact that he broke it down that way, and that he's so shamelessly admitting to it, like there's nothing wrong, because it wouldn't have mattered, you know, as long as it was full of towels. Also, by the way, that segment with his Kia in the gas station in that video is cut out. It's gone. It's completely gone. So even he doesn't believe his own shit that he fucking claims. Now for the second biggest part that I found bewildering about his character or style of journalism was when he explained how his use of B-rolls from other cities when talking about the crime of one place, it was a fuck up, but not a malicious one, or even one in his own hands, more so than it was a fuck up from his dumb editors.
But here's the problem. I don't place the B-roll for my videos. I have 2 editors for my main channel, and 1 editor's job is dedicated to finding B-roll for the videos. Whether it's me or my editing team, ultimately, it's my channel with my name and it's my responsibility. I agree with Vince. These are lazy, dumb mistakes that never should have made it to the final cut. But the problem is, if you take out the few incorrect shots we placed in some of these videos, for instance, let's take Oakland and replace it with this shot.
I actually feel safer.
Machine guns? Or this shot, or this shot, or this shot, the same purpose is achieved at visualizing the gun crimes in question. Another example is this shot of a shootout in Chicago that made it in our video about Memphis.
So Tyler deliberately knew what he was doing.
Okay, let's take out that shot and replace it with any of these shots. Or this example of Vince pointing out this flag.
Oh my god, and there's an ISIS flag. Clearly that isn't just a peaceful protest, they have ISIS flags in Sweden.
And his viewers correct him, stating it is the Shahada. If this is the logic, then Vince and I both lied about this nothing burger shot that could easily be replaced with 100 other examples of B-roll that serve the same purpose.
Right, this part makes no sense, so I'm gonna be honest. I don't buy that for a second. Editors don't go off their way to make a video more cinematic and crazy as possible. They do it when the director or producer tells him to do it. And I don't get how he's like, oh, well, I could have used all these other clips from the same city to still paint the same narrative. Because I was watching it and I was like, okay, why didn't you? If they were out there and that easily available. And I haven't watched these clips that he's showcasing, because there's a lot, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say that I don't really believe they were really that interesting, so he just used other clips from other cities. I think that's why. Or you put it close on part 1, Tyler tackled one of the biggest things that Vince damned about him, where he entertains these somewhat racist ideas and hides behind the shield of being like, oh, just asking questions, as evident in his Her Asians Eating Cats video. And Tyler counters that there was proof of him, you know, honestly covering people, discrediting the rumor, and that it was just, you know, made up.
How did you get here to Charleroi?
Bon, je suis dans Charleroi parce que j'ai un papier dans même qui est temporaire. Immédiatement, temps pas m'en écoulé. Ça gouvernement m'a dit, c'est lui m'a fait.
All right.
Yeah, now that all the immigrants have gotten here, guess what? You're getting new stoplights.
Say hello, they'll smile to you. I don't know how many times I still sleep with my doors open.
Dogs and cats here. The Haitians aren't bothering us. There's not 4,000 Haitians here. Maybe 1,000, maybe. That's really odd. They're good people.
Sure.
So I think that's fair. But my issue is that Vince was to be correct that the whole video leans into the rumor because there was just like a much bigger ratio of him engaging with these crazy people that believe it's true, as well as the fact that he just presents the question itself in such a bold way to make it seem like, you know, it should honestly be questioned. Like, there's literally a 1 minute segment Vince shows of all the time like he goes to the residents and be like, yo, are they fucking eating cats out there? So yeah, honestly, shit takes, shit responds. But there were some parts that, you know, I actually have to point out, because even though there might be easy excuses, I feel like he would have taken the lol cow approach and just be like, no, fuck you, you're wrong. The first one was honestly a more of a fuck up on Vince's part, because there was a section where due to poor structure, it's like, dude, what the fuck? He's literally taking up a seat in the border patrol car that could have gone to someone else. Okay, well, he didn't because he got off, but what the fuck, dude? Was it a sort of high schoolish immature joke? Yeah. Did he seriously fuck with the border patrol system that made someone lose a spot to get help? No, it clearly didn't. I mean, Tyler says that if he did, he would have done it to record the whole process. But even then, I'm like, you know, you could have just like shot them an email to have a formal visit, rather than doing like guerrilla style, showing up there at the car.
Why did he pretend to be asylum seeker to get processed by Border Patrol? To see where we would end up, the behind-the-scenes logistics of how the government would process someone claiming asylum and what that process looked like. It's not like I pushed some pregnant woman out of the way to take the last spot in the van. There was no one else left waiting to get in the van. Even if I did take a seat, I wouldn't have been taking someone else's seat.
Tyler then apologizes for a slight small fuck up, where it made it seem like a Christian seafood place in his Jamaican video was secretly a brothel at night. And as it turns out, it wasn't. But he clarifies in response that he only believed that because his guide there with him saw it was as well. And now that part is taken out of the video, so fair enough. Then finally, I think a part that does deserve to be seen as a decent excuse was when he clarified that guy he interviewed for his "Was 9/11 an inside job?" It turned out to be someone with a couple more crazy ideas, which he didn't know.
I never hid that. I never even knew that before Vince's video, and we mainly discussed how he thinks 9/11 was a false flag and how he believes it was a controlled demolition. But I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff he believes as well that would be equally controversial in Vince's eyes.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess he didn't bother to get his opinions on other stuff to gauge his mental level, but even then, I'd say that you should probably carefully pick and research who you interview. Especially when you make them sound like a smart voice in the question of, was 9/11 an inside job? Or would I say that the excuses and fair points he mentioned in the video redeem the bigger issues and vindicate him as a journalist? No, not really. It's still hard for me to like shake off the fact that his content is just made for views, especially with the knowledge I have from Vince's video. Like, I'm sorry, I just can't believe that one of the worst parts, him trying to bait a car robbery, was explained by saying, yeah, I was trying to do it. So what? It was just towels, who cares? So yeah, I'd say unless Tyler can make a huge 180, I still wouldn't take his shit as a honest, good representation of reality. And honestly, at bare minimum, in this video, I was expecting him to like make a promise of how in the future he would include a reference or credit like all the clips he shows so they can be vetted and make the whole video more reliable. But he didn't, even though it's probably like the easiest promise. And even then, like, you can't really ignore like the overall nature of his stuff. I mean, he just made a new video called "The Most Dangerous Dominican Hood," which I can't really condone to anyone, and also because, going into it, there'll be a lot of shit fluffed up for the sake of entertainment. So honestly, this is one of those things where before I didn't trust him, but now I trust him even less, because if this is his way of like responding to criticisms by strawmanning it and not making any good promises to get better, then yeah, I have no reason to see him in a better light, like at all.